So usually a missing persons report is, well, it's a straight line. You follow the clues, you find the person, and you get a clean resolution.
Right.
But today we are diving into the Pong-Thong case, which is absolutely dominating Thai news broadcasts right now. And this case, it just unravels into something terrifying. We're looking at how a search for a stolen motorbike led straight to a hidden graveyard.
Yeah, the sheer scale of what they found under the surface of that initial report is, frankly, it's staggering. I mean, it started with two missing Russian siblings, right? Roman and Diana.
And they were just teenagers, basically, 17 and 22.
Exactly. And when police searched the woods of Chon for them, they didn't just find the siblings, they actually uncovered a Thai family of 3 buried there as well.
God, that's awful.
Yeah, a father, a mother, and their 18-year-old daughter.
And the details of how the culprits, Pong and Thong, actually trapped these 5 people are just chilling. The sources note they used fake police uniforms and handcuffs that they just bought online.
Right, so Pong wasn't just, overpowering victims in dark alleys.
No, he was explicitly weaponizing the public's inherent trust in law enforcement just to get them to comply.
He completely turned the symbols of safety into a trap. And he used that exact same terror to control those around him, too. He actually bragged to an ex-girlfriend that he had buried up to 100 bodies near the famous Buddha mountain, Khao Chi Chan.
Wait, 100 bodies? Really?
Well, whether that number is true or just a psychological tactic, he used the claim to threaten her into submission.
Which naturally makes you ask how someone reaches that level of calculated cruelty. And his aunt actually came forward to the press detailing this severe childhood abuse. We were talking about a child who was electrocuted and literally dragged down the street by a car driven by his father.
It is a totally devastating background, but criminologist Dr. Trin, who analyzed the case for the broadcast, he warns against drawing a straight line between a tragic childhood or mental illness and these specific murders.
Right, because of the statistics on violence.
Exactly. He points out that only about 1% of psychiatric patients act violently. Pong didn't just snap, He showed clear, calculated intent. He adapted his methods. Right. And he methodically hid evidence.
Okay, but wait, the timeline here is what's really shocking to me. The broadcast mentioned Pong was released from prison just 2 months before these murders. If the state already knew he was a violent, calculating risk, how did he manage to commit at least 5 murders in under 60 days?
That is the core of this whole tragedy. The state had actually categorized him as high risk. They even passed the 2022 Recidivism Act specifically to monitor inmates like him for 3 years post-release.
So what happened?
Well, the actual execution of that community surveillance law was essentially an honor system. They expected a violent serial offender to voluntarily call in and report on his own behavior.
You're kidding. That is like installing a smoke detector without a battery.
Right.
I mean, it gives the public the illusion of safety, but it fundamentally relies on the fire putting itself out.
Precisely. And because of that massive loophole, Pong just slipped right back into his old network immediately after walking out of the prison gates.
And the fallout from that loophole has completely boiled over into the streets. I mean, people aren't just angry. The broadcasts show crowds physically attacking the police vehicles, transporting the suspects.
Yeah, the victims' families and the public are furiously demanding the death penalty. It got so heated that the Prime Minister Anutin even had to personally intervene.
Because of the international optics, right?
Yeah, the spotlight on Thailand's justice system became so intense, he had to publicly clarify that the Russian victims were actually 7-year residents of Thailand, not just tourists.
Trying to manage a diplomatic crisis alongside the public outrage.
Oh, Zach.
Which forces a really uncomfortable debate highlighted in the criminological analysis. The public is demanding the ultimate punishment. But you have to wonder, is the death penalty a true form of justice here? Or is it just the government covering up its own inability to safely monitor individuals post-release?
It is a huge systemic paradox. Some experts argue that life imprisonment without parole is a far more enduring punishment than the quick finality of the death penalty.
But both options only happen after the system has already failed to protect the public.
Right.
It really challenges that comfort we all have, the assumption that once the gavel bangs and someone is sent to prison, society is permanently safe from them. This deep dive into the Pong-Thong case is a glaring alarm bell about the realities of criminal rehabilitation.
It absolutely proves that incarceration is only one piece of a much larger puzzle, and the transition back into society is where the system is breaking down entirely.
Leaving you with this to think about. When a justice system successfully incarcerates a violent offender but completely fails to monitor them the second they step out the door, how much of the responsibility for the next crime lies with the system itself?